Notion is productivity software designed to be an all-in-one workspace, a place to organise everything in your life, a fully functioning second brain. Doesn't that sound amazing? As someone who loves organisation and systems, especially when they can be customised and made to look aesthetically pleasing, easily adding things like header images and icons, Notion seemed like the perfect tool for me. It was love at first sight. I quit bullet journaling, began watching all the Notion content on YouTube, spent hours building my personal dashboard. I was hooked. That was over a year ago now, and since then things have changed a lot, which is why I'm making this video. I'm going to take you on a tour of my personal Notion and show you why, for me, and perhaps for you too, Notion is not the answer that I thought it was going to be. This is my homepage, my personal hub. I spent ages watching people make these in different ways and how they're kind of like their dashboard for everything that is going on in their life. I don't know how long I spent doing it really, because it's the kind of thing that just kind of sucks you in. But I put my word of the year up here, my movement 2023, and then I separated things out into these 4 categories. So I've got health, growth, starlings, which is stuff that I do with my name's Jessica Star with a double R, and so I have kind of got like a mini blog thing which I talk about my kids who are the starlings. I think it's funny. And my work as well, which is like here on YouTube and with my community. So yeah, I separated out into those 4 headings, and those were like the sort of main areas in my life that I was going to be recording on Notion using this software for. And I put like key tasks under each of these, and I literally never look at any of this stuff on the dashboard now. I think the pictures are really pretty, it does look nice, but it's like not in the works at all. You know, it's not, I never come on this personal hub page ever. So current projects here, I made a big list of the things that I was doing. I haven't even gone through this to check. And then here I created a daily rhythm, which is like what I like to do in the mornings and what I like to do in the evenings. And I did actually use this for a while. It's like it can regenerate itself. So I can click this button and I'll do it. And you can like generate a whole new one. So like I can check off for the day and then have the same thing again. And then I can kind of track how often I was doing the things I wanted to be doing in my daily rhythm and routine. And I did use that for a while, and I did actually find it really helpful, but I just found that I didn't want to be like logging in on here and recording those things in especially in the evening. I didn't mind so much in the morning, but I like to do it in the morning after I'd done all those things. So it was like I had to remember what the things that I was going to do anyway, because I didn't want to be opening my laptop, because I try and put off, you know, interacting with technology and stuff like that early on in the day. So ultimately, I feel like it did help for a little while, but ultimately I don't use that at all now. I'm sure you can spot the theme that is going on here. And then I had like a kind of weekly to-do list, which has got like the things. This is like a Kanban board, they call them, but you can have it as a table as well. Like that's one of the really cool things about Notion, is that you can organize your information in like loads of different ways. But I feel like I spent so much time organizing my information in different ways that I was like, the time was spent on creating the container rather than actually like doing the stuff that I was supposed to be doing. So this was kind of similar to my daily rhythm, except these were things that I did like I'm supposed to be doing on each of these days. So it was like a reminder, and I would look at what I had coming up and I can just tick things off. And when I tick them off, they disappear. And then if I wanted to make a new week, I could just generate a new one, and it would generate me a whole new week ready to, oh no, it's doing it as a side peep. I obviously clicked the wrong thing, but yeah, it should generate me a whole week. And this is actually, you can see that it's got like a red box around it, because I set this up as like, because this was the bit that I was using a lot to kind of keep me on track with what I was supposed to be doing every day, what I was doing with the kids, because my kids are home educated. I don't think I mentioned that when I said before as well. So a lot of the stuff I'm doing with them is like, there's a lot of organization involved. It's not like I'm dropping them off at school and then picking them up. It's like there's stuff in the day, classes and things, we're going to meetups and stuff like that. So there's quite a bit of toing and froing and stuff in there. But I put it in this like red, it puts a red box around it if you make it like a sync block, because I pulled it out as a separate page so that I could just interact with it on my phone, because you can use Notion on your phone, but it's a bit clunky. And I find if you are going to use it on your phone, if you do want to use it, it's better to make pages like this, which, because it's a sync block, if I tick something off on here, it'll be ticked off over in on my hub as well. I'll try and show you that now. My computer's a little bit slow, which is not helpful. So yeah, so it's not there on Thursday because I've ticked it off. And if I tick off laundry, Dylan learning, and then I go over here, they will be ticked off over here as well, because those things are synced up. So, you know, there's some really cool aspects to it, but ultimately I don't even use this anymore either now. I never go on that anymore. I've started I've got like a calendar, an iCal calendar, which I just put everything in like that of appointments and stuff. And then I made a whole video actually about like how to get organized, and explained how, like, if you separate things that are actually like calendar items and you have to do items as different things. I'll try and remember to link that video, because I think that's really helpful, because the reason why a lot of people want to use Notion is to help organize their lives and feel like they've got a handle on things. Like, I know that's why I wanted to do it. It's like, yeah, it looks pretty, it organizes things, and I've been so into bullet journaling for so long that I love that. But what I wanted with Notion is to be able to like generate these lists and things like that, and not have to like keep typing the same things out, keep writing the same things out again and again and again. So I also set up something for like weekly reviews as well, and you can see here that I've done one weekly review. I made like a whole list of questions that I'd be doing for like weekly reviews, monthly reviews, annual reviews. If you watch lots of YouTube videos on Notion, you'll know that people have got like all these elaborate systems of like what they do. So I had like journal prompts and then questions. And like, there's nothing wrong with these questions, but it's just like, I was adding so much more admin to my life. That's what it feels like. I feel like Notion added another whole layer of admin to my life that wasn't actually helpful and supportive. It was like actually sucking time away from actually living my life, which is not what I wanted. I also had this section, what's for dinner. And I got rid of that because that wasn't working at all. I had like a Kanban board thing, but I did download I think I got that in my health section. Yeah, I did download like a whole meal planning template, which I got off a YouTuber here, where they were like sharing how they use this to plan their recipes. And I used this for like about a month probably. You can put make weekly meal plans, and you can put your like recipes and stuff that you like to make into here, and then you can like drag them into the meal plan, and it'll generate you like a shopping list as well. But again, like, it's a lot of admin for eating, you know, and it kind of sucked the joy out of it a little bit, I think. And that is another thing that I found with Notion in general, is like, it's lovely, it looks beautiful, but it kind of, this is the YouTuber. I'll try and link her as well in that video. So if you are interested in meal planning with Notion, you can see that, because she obviously explains it much better, and she's got this free template that you can use, which is cool. Oh, there we are, Marie Poulain. So I will, I'll link her, like I said. But yeah, it's just, it adds an unnecessary level of complication, I think, to a lot of stuff. Although, you know, not for everybody. Some people find that it works really well. Okay, so what else do I have here on my personal hub? I've got a calendar. Notion's not great for calendars. Oh, look, I've deleted this as well because I wasn't using it. You can't like sync it with your like an actual calendar. So it'll generate calendar views of stuff, and you can add things. I'll show you a little example of that in a moment, because I do use a calendar view for planning YouTube videos and stuff like that. So I'll show you that. But yeah, I haven't used it very much. And I did find these sort of things useful, like making these little like scratch paper sections where I can add on little bits and bobs of things that I need to remember to do. Like, I've written the reviews section on this page needs work. I'm not really sure when or what I should do with these, but I feel like I need to include them. And that is another thing, you know, it's like, yes, they're things like I felt like I should be having this because I was seeing lots of people with these things in their personal hubs, and actually for me that didn't work at all. So I've got also like a kind of work hub, Jessica and the Moon, which is the name of my channel, and the sort of stuff that the people I work with, what I'm aiming to do with my work, that kind of thing on here. So it's kind of like a manifesto for my work, but I don't look at this really at all. I do use the other things that are linked from this. Like I've got a work to-do list, which I do use loads. I look on this all the time. Actually, not this bit. This bit I don't look at. The YouTube bit I do, which is, hopefully it'll come up now. So this is like where I plan out what I'm going to be doing. So like the videos I'm going to be making, the posts that I make for my community. I've got a community of kindreds who we have like moon videos to do with like the energies, the astrology, that kind of thing, goddess videos. That's my whole thing, like being more connected with the seasons and cycles. So it feels like weird in a way to be making a Notion video, because obviously my work is kind of seems at odds. Like sometimes technology can seem at odds with like nature and stuff like that, but I find having like, you still need to be organized as well. So I do find this quite handy. And I've got this work planner, which this view of it is the release date of stuff. So I've got like when these things need to happen. And then I've also got a actual due date, so that I can schedule in the same things, but when I'm actually going to do them. So let me just show you. For example, if I go into one of these, and I've like set these all up as templates, so it's really quick and easy to add them. And like that's one really cool thing about Notion is the templates, because you can just set up a template and then just like ping, you've got it straight away. So on each of them, I've got this like metadata at the start here, and I put like what it's going to be and then the date of the release. So that puts it on the calendar, on the release calendar. And then down here, I've got the due date, which puts it on the due calendar. So they like sometimes I'll do them and release them on the same day, but more often than not, I'm like making things in advance and then uploading them. So those two things won't be the same. Let me just show you how I generate this, because that might be handy to see if you are planning on using Notion to like organize your work. So I just click add an item, and then it's untitled. This is the metadata that I've created for this particular page, with this particular it's a database. Really, it is a database in Notion, but you can see it in lots of different views. So you can view it as like a calendar view or a Kanban view or a table view, that kind of thing. But it's basically a database. So these are like the kind of fields of the database here, and then I've set up these templates for all these different things, because these are regular things that I do all the time that I want to be adding to my calendar. So by setting these up as templates, I can very easily just go like, okay, so it's going to be my dark moon journaling session, so I'll put that on the calendar, and then it tells me what I need to do here, because that's part of the template too. Like obviously I don't need to know very much. And then I can put the date of release, so you just click on that and I can choose what date I want it to be released, and then what date am I actually going to do it. So I click on there and I can put that on there, and like I can fill in the rest of this stuff like keywords and stuff. Like that's more for if I'm planning a video, rather than this calendar started off as just a video planning calendar, but it's kind of evolved into more than that as I've used it. And that's what's funny to me really, is like I really felt like I needed to design my Notion first of all, and like get it all set up and perfect or at least like good, until I and so I did that. But then the pages that I used like that I spent ages, like my personal hub and my business hub kind of thing, I set them all up looking pretty, but then I don't use them. And then the pages that I'm actually using are the ones that have kind of more organically grown out of being useful. So yeah, it's a funny way that has kind of evolved. And yeah, I've got other pages here in my work section as well. I've got like my website stuff. I don't really write very much on here. I did fairly recently redo my whole website, jessicaandthemoon.com. So I had to like fill in some GDPR and like data protection stuff, and so I've got all these kind of things filled in on here. Just I don't really look at this unless I'm like working on that kind of thing at all. And then I've got my Circle of Kindreds, which is a Facebook group associated with my channel where we like share about stuff. And like I've done all these things but it was for when I was setting up the circle, and I wanted like a little to-do list of the things. So I could probably even get rid of this as well now. And like I've got courses and products that I make and create, and my mailing list and channel memberships. I don't know if I got anything here at all. Oh yeah, no, I have. So this was kind of when I was still thinking. So it was before I haven't pressed go yet, but like I have been offering channel memberships for a while now, so you can see like I haven't needed this page, which is why I haven't come up to it. So similar on all of these things in my work planner. And then let me show you, so health. And this was one of my big goals for, I started my Notion in 2022, and this was like one of my big goals. So this key tasks, again, you can see there's a red box around it because that is a sync block. It's a sync block with on my like main home hub, my personal hub. And then I've got like plans of what I was doing, the supplements I was taking. So this is kind of like healthy, like helpful to have these things to refer back to, which is kind of cool. Like I had some blood tests done and things like that, and I've saved. You can, let me show you. You can put like documents into here, so I can keep them and I'll be able to refer back to them as well. You can like put pictures, you can make it all look pretty and stuff like that. They do need to like be below a certain size, but you know, that's really easy. And I find like being able to link things in is really handy. Sorry, my computer's pinging. Things I noticed about my body. So that was kind of like a log of a symptom log kind of thing. I've written 2 entries in that. Skincare stuff that I was working on, the meal planning stuff I've already sent you, supplements I was taking. So, you know, it's kind of just a dumping ground. These are not pages that I'm actually like working with, which is what I thought I was going to be doing. Like I was watching these videos of people who are working with Notion, and Notion is like a big part of their productivity, I suppose. But I guess I'm just a more like feet on the earth kind of person, and it just doesn't really work for me to do it like that. Like I say this, the pages that have kind of more organically evolved than the ones that I created to think I was going to do this. Like this page, this is my goals page. These were the things that the growth is where, this is where I wrote about things, it's supposed to be write about things that are important to me and changes I'm making in my life. And you know, it's like I put all these goals and I broke them down into smaller tasks and things like that, because I've seen people doing that on their Notions. And like I've done this one, actually, redecorate horses, and that, and it looks beautiful. It doesn't look like this, but I think mine looks just as lovely. You know, there was, again, it's like adding another layer of admin that I just didn't need in my life. I tend to do so much more paper planning, and I've just gone back to using paper planning for my goals because it just seems more accessible to me. I haven't got to like open my laptop, pull up a page, tick into what I'm doing. Like maybe if I had a job where I was like working at a computer all the time, that would make sense, but it just doesn't make sense for me. So I have got some things in here as well. Like I've got like might do lists, which again are kind of like dumping ground for stuff. I've also got like wish lists of things, which are kind of, so this is like things like courses and stuff I might want to do and stuff. And I find this actually quite handy because I know I can pop things here and I'm not going to lose it. I can just come back to those things. I've got more of those down in this second brain section. I'm jumping around a little bit, but let me show you what I've got here in my second brain. So I've got like links to Readwise, which is a reading app that I use to like highlight and keep notes on things that I'm reading. And like I really like that, and it syncs to Notion. Let me show you what that looks like. But I've actually stopped using that. And it's quite cool as well because it makes you like this really pretty library of all the books that you've read and things like that. But I've stopped doing that here because I'm using Readwise syncing to Obsidian now, which is another productivity app. And it's not quite as pretty as Notion, but it's like, it's more organic, and I think that's why it sort of suits me for certain things in my life better than other things. Like I'm still doing, like I say, my like video planning and stuff like that over here, and like planning when I'm going to be doing things, but Obsidian has become the place where I write notes about what I'm thinking. So if I'm writing about things I'm thinking, ideas I've had and stuff like that, that all goes into Obsidian. Whereas this is more of like I'm going to keep stuff here that I might want to refer back to. You know, it's not something I'm thinking about. It's more like facts, I suppose, is what I keep here. Facts and like dates and to-do lists and stuff like that seems to be what I find Notion more intuitive for. So I've got like a tarot wish list here. I've also got like insights, ideas and realizations. I started a tarot and oracle collection database, but I haven't updated this. Like I've got, let's see see how many entries. I put one. I put one in when I bought that one on the 16th of August 2022, and I have not updated that at all. I've got a whole bunch of tarot. I thought I would make like a whole load of them and then add a gallery view so I could see all my decks looking really pretty on Notion. But I just see them looking pretty actually on my shelves instead. But you can make collections like that, like in a bullet journal style, which I know some people really, really like that. So that might be handy. Let me just show you the Starlings page, which is the stuff I do like for my children, home ed, stuff like that. So I thought I was going to use Notion to record basically what we were doing, kind of keep track of what they were up to, almost like a little like a mini blog. I made some quick input links, which I made as like those kind of quick pages that I could do on my phone. I said earlier that if it doesn't work great on your phone, but if you make just like pages which are very simple and have just one, I'll show you. So like this, it's just one database. There's nothing else on the page, and I can just pop that straight in from my phone. And you can actually do that, and you put like photos and things like that into it as well. And the table view tends to work better on phone than trying to do it in a fancy view. Where was I? I need to go back to my Starlings hub. And what else? I did a whole, so like the resources and activities we're doing, their current interests, ideas for adventures, and what our goals are, things we need, stuff like that, and just making it look pretty with some extra stuff, some key tasks, which this will be way out of date because I haven't checked this off. And I started putting like lists of ideas of things we might want to do, and lists of adventures, things we might like, sort of things we might want to go on and do and see, and like just some quotes and scratch paper and stuff. And I did this whole photo scrapbook, which I started to fill in here, which, let me show you it as a board because it looks much prettier like that. And it basically shows like things that they've been doing, and I can, if I click into these, this is my daughter, she just ran the 2K last year, and I put like the date, the learning area that it is compatible with, and then tags, just so I can find it again if I wanted to, who it was, which child it was, and like a little picture which then shows up, as you can see, in the board here. So it's nice, but I had a couple of problems with this. I've gone too far into it now, I'm sorry. Let me come back out and just go back onto the Starlings homepage. So one of the main issues with Notion, and I've seen other people mention this as well, is that it's not stored on your computer. It's stored, all the information you're uploading, recording and stuff like that, it's frozen up now, is stored on their servers, on Notion servers basically. So everything that you input is stored like there on their kind of cloud. And I'm, with this scrapbook, I'm putting in like details of my children's lives, of our lives, and I wasn't really that comfortable with that being stored on Notion servers, so I didn't really like that idea. I'd rather that I kept it like personal, private, I suppose. These are details. Like I'm not particularly concerned that Notion are gonna be like farming that information out anywhere else, but it's a possibility. So I didn't want that, so I decided to not continue with that and just use a different method of recording, that kind of thing. And I also made a whole curriculum thing that I thought that we'd be using, and I don't look at this really ever as well. So this whole Starling section has been abandoned, and like I say, mainly that was not because it didn't work, because it did work for that. And if you did want to make a kind of log, it does work really well for that, but it's that kind of personal privacy issue with it that made me not really want to do that. So yeah, I think I've shown you pretty much everything here now. I've got my grimoire, but I don't really use that. Again, I use paper planning more for this. But my overall take on it is that there are definitely lots of great things that you can use Notion for. But it is very, very easy to get sucked in to like spending all this time on creating pages and databases and be like, I'm going to log this, I'm going to record this, which actually ends up creating a lot more work for you. And you feel like you're being so productive as well, because you're like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm being really productive because I'm making all these lists and I've got these pages. And it just isn't actually, you're not being productive. You're just making more admin for yourself. It's like creating an admin job for yourself, which you don't actually need. Or I felt like that's what I was doing. It was what I didn't actually need. So there are a few pages, like I say, that I do use. And one other thing that I have found Notion really helpful for is you can create pages on here as well. Let me see if I can show you an example of one of these. You can create a page and then you can like make that page almost like publish it on the net, I suppose, because it is part of Notion's, because the Notion servers are all online. You can make pages and put them, I know where it'll be in my, I've got some in my Jessica and the Moon because I created some stuff for my membership. So it should be here in channel memberships. Yeah. So I've made pages here in channel memberships for my channel members, which are, I can share the link for them. You just come up here and you click share and it gives you a link and you can share the link and then people can come and see these pages and you know, you can, it's basically like creating a beautiful little web page that you can share with other people and they can read it, but they can't edit it. You can, I think you can share for them to edit as well, but I think maybe you need to upgrade your Notion if you do that as well. But I didn't need it for that. I just needed it for like sharing, for people to just read. So that, you know, that works really nicely. Like you can obviously, if you've got a website anyway, you can make like private pages and stuff. But I think Notion is actually, that's one of the best uses for Notion, is like sharing pages with other people like that. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to stop rambling on about it. Let me know your thoughts about Notion, whether you use it, whether you found the same as me, or whether you think it's great. Warmest blessings. Thanks for watching, and I will see you very soon.